Swamiji.
Hari Om, Hari Om. Om Vishwan Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyan Nijantargatam Pashyannatmani Mayaya Bahirivod Yatha Nidraya Yassakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Swatmanamevadvayam Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namahidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Bijasyantarivangkuro Jagadidam Prangnirvikalpam Punaha Maya Kalpita Deshakalakalana Vaichitra Chitri Kritam Maya Viva Vijrumbhayatya Vimaha Yogi Vayasvechaya Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namahidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namahidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om. So yesterday we were seeing the second topic of chapter 1, and that is this ajnana, ignorance, which is cause of the samsara. That was a topic, and it was discussed between verse number 11 to verse number 14. And I am just repeating little bit because in case somebody must have missed. So I will give you a gist of that verse 11 to 14 once again. So in verse 11 it is told, Abhanena param prema bhanena vishaye spruha ataha bhane api abhata asau paramanandata atmanaha. So nicely said, Abhanena param prema. Abhanam. Bhanam means known. Abhanam, unknown. Bha dhatu is there in a second conjugation. Bha bhati means to shine, to know. So bhanam means known, abhanam, not known. So abhane, atmani abhane sati param premana bhavati. If atma is not totally unknown to you, you will not have a self-love. But we have seen it, that there is a love for the self, which is unconditional love, and whatever is an object of love must be the source of joy. And therefore, so you must be aware of, the self is, Ananda Swarupa, that you are aware of. Partially. Otherwise you will not love. The object of love definitely indicates that it is a source of joy for you. And therefore, if there is a love for the self, you know partially that Atma is basically a source of joy, right? And so you know Atma, let's say Atmananda or Atma, partially. So abhanena param prema bhavati. If it is not totally known to you, there will not be a self-love. And then bhane vishaya spruhana bhavati. If it is totally known to you that Atma alone is the source of joy, then why should you have a begging bowl for the sense objects? And therefore, so you basically have you feel that you are an unhappy person and you seek happiness in the world. And therefore, you don't know yourself totally, that you are the one who is fullness, etc., etc. And therefore, bhane vishaya spruhana bhavati. Attachment towards the world indicates that you are not totally aware of, that you are the source of joy. That also is there. And therefore, bhane vishaya spruhana bhavati. If you know totally that you are very clear that you are the only source of joy, and vishaya becomes a nimitta, they bring out joy which is within me. Basically they are nimitta, they don't have any, they are not the source of joy. So basically if you are very clear, then there is a question of having a vishaya spruha, having attachment towards the world. but you have an attachment towards the world because you look upon the various objects in the creation as a source of happiness. Therefore, you are not totally aware of yourself as a Ananda, the Ananda Swarupa. Therefore, you don't know yourself totally. So, this is a situation. Bhane api vishaya spruha na bhavati. Then, asau, therefore, atmanaha paramanandata, and therefore the Ananda Swarupa of the Atma, bhane api abhata bhavati. So, it is evident that it is you are bhane api abhata. So, you know also that you are Ananda Swarupa because you love yourself. At the same time, you don't know that you are the only source of joy, and therefore you have a Vishaya Spruha also, and therefore that indicates you have partial knowledge about yourself. Clear? Now, one more point I would like to tell in this is Atmanaha Paramanandata. This is all they have to do so that to fit into the meter of the verses. Atmanaha Paramanandata, what you should do is, Atmanaha is a sixth case. Paramanandata is an abstract noun. Drop the sixth case and drop the abstract noun from here. So Atmanaha is a sixth case, you convert into Atma. That's all. Atma. And here Paramanandata, the ta you remove. That's an abstract noun. It makes abstract noun. It's basically a suffix which makes an abstract noun. Drop that also. Atma Parananda. That's all. Atma Paramananda. This is how it is. They, in Bhashyam and everywhere, they will write like this only. Sixth case and abstract noun, they make it like that. And therefore, so Paramanandata basically means Paramanandaha, and here Atmanaha convert into Atma. So Asau Atma Paramanandaha, well, that is the Bhane api abhata bhavati. That happiness of the Atma is not totally clear to you. You are having a partial knowledge. Then why am I not clear? There is obstacle. That's how he is establishing the obstacle here. Now then in the second verse, he gives an example in verse number 12. Adretru varga madhyastha putra adhyayana shabdavat bhane api abhanam bhanasya pratibandhena yujyate. So, Adhyetru varga madhyastha putra adhyayana shabdavat. So he gave an example. Putra adhyayana shabdavat. Vat means example. So, amidst Adhyetru varga madhyastha, amid all Vedic students, well, this father, the son, is chanting Vedic mantras, and his voice is known and unknown to the father, because there is a chorus chanting. So he can listen his son's voice, but he is not able to distinctly listen whether his chanting is proper or not. That he is not able to tell because there is a chorus chanting. I gave you example of our own sadhakas, chanting chapter 15 together. They deliberately chant together. If you tell a single person that you chant, he or she won't chant, because mistakes would be immediately recognized, clear to the hearer. And therefore they have a chorus chanting. So it looks to the Swami that I am chanting also, it appears to the Swami. At the same time, what he or she is chanting, the quality of chanting will not be known to him. And therefore, that is how it is going on. There is a pratibandha. The chorus chanting itself is a pratibandha. It's an obstruction for the clear listening of the Vedic chanting to the teacher. So this example is given. So it is known also. You are listening. Your voice is heard also and not heard also. Right? Your voice is heard at the same time not distinct. So not heard also. Distinctly heard. So this is an example. Putra adhyana shabdavat adhyetru varga madhyasya. Same way. Tadvat. Same way. Similarly, atmanaha swarupam api. Well, the nature of Atma also, swarupam api. Api means also. The nature of Atma also, bhani api abhadam bhavati, is partially known, partially unknown. But what is nature of Atma, Swami? Ananda, that's all. Take it that way. Take it this way. Ananda only, that's a major problem. My major problem of a samsara is all this, avidya, kama, karma, etc. we say. The ignorance of oneself leads to, have a notion about the limitations of the self. You have a notion. There is no limitation in self. But you have a notion that I am a limited being. It creates a desire in you. Because of the limitation, feeling lack within, there will be a desire. Desire to have a sense of completion, have a sense of fullness. You have a desire. And you know that you acquire a certain object and become happy. Whenever you are happy, you are full. And therefore, definitely, you have a desire for various objects of the world. For that, you do varieties of activity, karma, etc., etc. And then karma phala, and then there is a janma, marana, etc. So this is whole samsara. Basically, it's the ignorance of the oneself. So ajnanam eva samsarasya karanam. Ajnanam alone is the samsara karanam. But anyway, so here it has been told, bhane api abhanam bhavati, the nature of Atma, which is happiness, is partially known, partially unknown. Bhane, sati, it means it is known. Abhanam, not known. So this is partial. So, what is the cause of this partial knowledge? Well, pratibandhena yujyate. Vidyaranya says, pratibandhena bhanasya yujyate. Well, basically, in the case of boys chanting, definitely that chorus chanting is a pratibandha, which gives to the father a partial knowledge of chanting of his own son. But here, in case of Atma, well, there is some pratibandha. What is the pratibandha? He will tell. But so there is some pratibandha by which you have a self-love, so you know that you are a source of joy, but at the same time, you are having a desire for various objects. For the sake of happiness, and therefore definitely you are not totally aware that you are happy also. You are the source of happiness. So this is a situation, and therefore here with Atmananda, with regards to Atmananda also, there is some pratibandha. That's what he is establishing, and that pratibandha has been told. So pratibandha asti bhati iti vyavahara vastuni tannirasya viruddhasya tasya utpadanam uchyate. What is pratibandha? What is obstacle? Obstacle he is defining. What is called obstacle? What is a pratibandha? Asti bhati iti vyavahara arha vastuni. Object. Arham means deserving. So object which deserves a description. What kind of a description? Asti bhati. It is evident. I am experiencing, and therefore it is there. So bhati. Bhati means I am experiencing. So this is asti bhati. That kind of a vyavahara. Shabda prayoga. Pen is, I am experiencing pen, therefore pen is, etc., etc. This kind of a verbal usage is there for this object, because it deserves that, right? It deserves that, otherwise how can I use? So arham means deserving. So object deserves the description. What kind of a description? Asti bhati iti. Iti indicates the quotation. Asti bhati. It pen is, pen shines, or pen is experienced, etc. That tan nirasya, negating that it is, basically this obstacle, the pratibandha, makes us say opposite. Like right now I am saying pen is, I am experiencing pen. Now if I do like this, pratibandha now. See, now this pratibandha makes me say opposite of it. Pen is not, I am not experiencing pen, etc., etc. Could you follow? So this is called pratibandha. Tan nirasya means negating that. Negating earlier verbal usage. What was verbal usage earlier? Pen is, pen, I am experiencing pen, etc. Pen shines, whatever. All this kind of a verbal usage, nirasya, negating that, tasya viruddhasya. And opposite to that, utpadanam generates a different type of a verbal usage which is just contrary to the earlier verbal usage. What? Nasti, pen is not, pen na bhati, pen does not shine, or I am not experiencing pen, either way. I have told you, evident if that word does not create some kind of a clarity in your mind, drop the word evident, really. You instead write experience. There is no problem. Anyway, so tasya viruddhasya utpadanam pratibandha uchyate. So this is how. So basically, definitely it generates the opposite idea. What? Pratibandha, obstacle generates the opposite idea. That object is not, object does not shine, etc., etc. That kind of a verbal usage. And then I have told you two types of pratibandhas are there. in which a popularly known pratibandha is a really covering something. Like my hand. Hand is a pratibandha. So same thing which was shining and which is existent, now you say, well, Swami, there is no pain in your hand because I am not experiencing pain, etc. etc. So Viruddha. Earlier it was you were saying something else. Now you say something opposite because of this obstacle. Right? And so this is how the things are. So this is a really covers. This cover a object. It's a direct concealment of the object. And now second type of pratibandha is a very, very typical kind of pratibandha and is caused by distraction. And we have seen the example of a hand and a light, right? You experience both the things, and therefore here hand cannot cover the light. Light is more pervading. Hand is less pervading. Hand is alpavyapi, and light is sarvavyapi. It covers everything. Then hand cannot cover the light, right? Hand cannot cover the light. So you experience hand and light both. But at the same time, the missing of the light, experiencing the light, most people miss the light. Experiencing the light, you miss the light because you focus your eyes only on the hand. Let's see what kind of hand Swamiji has. Let me see. Suppose you have that idea. What kind of hand Swamiji has? And how much, at what angle he has kept, etc. etc. Anyway, so this, if you go into the description of a given thing, it is distraction. So what is second thing which you are experiencing? In fact, without experiencing light, you cannot experience the hand. So the light is the first thing you experience. In fact, really, this light falls on the hand, gets reflected, reaches to your eye, and in that reflected light you see the hand. So first you see the reflected light. So what in fact you are experiencing first, that you keep it aside. And the second thing is there, the hand. Because our focus. So hand has as though become obstacle for the existence of light and for the experience of light. This is how we have to understand. So figuratively we say hand covers the light. Figuratively. It's a peculiar form of covering. So missing of light is caused by the hand which is experienced along with the light. So one misses light because of one's focus on the hand. And we have seen the example of movie also. So when we are focusing on the movie and the situations and actor and actresses and etc., then we miss that screen. And therefore, screen is the without. So anyway, somebody asked me, Swamiji, are you seeing movie or are you seeing the screen? Somebody asked me, while seeing the movie in theater, somebody asked me, Swamiji, because he knows that I am a Swami of a Vedanta, and therefore people always want to taste you. So they ask you also. Anyway, something else also comes to my mind. But so, are you experiencing the movie or are you experiencing the screen? Well, I have studied this Pancadasi and Kutasthadeepa Prakaranam, so I said, I am experiencing screen. I am experiencing screen. Believe me, you are experiencing screen. We will see. You have to wait a long. Chapter 8, Kutasthadeepa. A beautiful example. I'm sorry, not Kutasthadeepa, Chitradeep Prakaranam. That's chapter 7. Anyway, so there he is going to give an example of a canvas and a beautiful drawing, painting. And he shows very beautifully. So basically it is just a canvas. Canvas appear in the form of a Rama and Sita, and canvas appear in the form of all the trees, etc., etc., and so many things. He describes at a very great length this example itself. Vidyaranya has so much leisure, so he can just dwell upon the example and elaborate to so that you will get a clear picture of the Vedanta, the principles of the Vedanta. So basically the coexistence of two things are there, and one distracts and cover the other thing, like in this case. And so in the case of Atma also, even though we are experiencing Atma, you should say this only, that's a fact. You should say I am Brahman, because it's self-revealing. Self-revealing means you need not have to use any means of knowledge. That is called self-revealing. What is revealed for revelation, it is dependent. Any object is always dependent upon something else for its revelation. And on what, Swamiji, it is dependent? On means of knowledge. If means of knowledge is not there, well, it does not get revealed. And of course, knower also. So basically, any inert thing you cannot reveal. This is the definition of inert thing. An inert object is one which is incapable of revealing itself. It always need a conscious being to get revealed. It always need. Therefore, what is the definition of conscious being, which is opposite to that? Conscious being is something which is self-revealing, which does not require any means of knowledge. Could you follow? And therefore, conscious being is self-revealing and therefore self-existence. Because I reveal my own existence. I don't need anybody. I don't need mind. I don't need eyes. I don't need any other thing. And therefore, first you should say Atma is self-revealing, which we call generally self-evident. And I experience myself. I don't need any other means of knowledge for experiencing. And then second sentence would be, I approve my own existence. I reveal my own existence also, and therefore I am self-existent. And these are not self-existent. What is not self-existent is called mithya. What is self-existent is called satya. Simple. So simple things we have. And nobody can shake it. Nobody can shake it. Therefore, what exists on its own, that is what satyam is. Abaditam satyam. What exists on its own is self-existent. And what exists with depending upon something else, it cannot reveal its own existence, because it cannot reveal itself, and therefore it cannot reveal its own existence too. And therefore it always asks for a conscious being, for its existence and for its revelation. So dependently existent, dependently revealing is called mithya. All inert things are like that. And therefore entire creation, Jagat mithya, Atma satyam, Brahma satyam, etc. And therefore this is how we have to understand. So we experience the Atma all the time, which is self-revealing, which is evident, which is self-existent. Then I should say I am a self-revealing, self-existent Atma. But I am not, never saying that. In fact, I say creation is self-existent. Right? Creation is self-existent. The world is self-existent. And I am one who comes in the world and goes. And therefore, Swamiji, I am having birth and death and etc. etc. And therefore, you have a ulta notion. You feel that you are not Brahman. There is no Brahman at all. The very first thing is this. There is no Brahman. Atma Brahman, well, that is not there. So there is Pratibandha. Exactly. Could you follow now? So what is existent and what is evident is shown as a not existent, not evident. Therefore, Pratibandha is also there. Well, therefore, Atma Vishay or Atmananda Vishay, let's say, either way, Atmananda Vishay, there is a Pratibandha. So, it creates a Viruddha, it creates an opposite notion in us. Then in verse number 14, it has been told, Tasya hetuhu samana abhiharaha putra dhvani shrutau iha anadi avidyaiva vyamohaika nibandhanam tasya hetuhu samana abhiharaha. So the cause of this Pratibandha to the voice of the sun being fully recognized, clearly recognized. What is that cause? Cause of Pratibandha is what? Chorus chanting. So samana abhihara. Samanam abhihara. Abhihara means chanting. Samanam, simultaneous chanting. So simultaneous chanting of all the students is a cause of Pratibandha, or cause of the obstacle to the sun's voice being fully recognized. So Shrutau means here fully recognized. Putra Dhvani Shrutau. For recognizing clearly recognizing the Dhvani, the voice of Putra of son. And there is a cause. Hetuhu. So Tasya Hetu, that Pratibandhasya Hetuhu. So the cause of that Pratibandha is what? Samana Abhiharaha, is simultaneous chanting. Simultaneous chanting of, chorus chanting of all the boys. Same way, iha atmananda vishaya. Iha means here. Here means iha asmin vishaye. Here means generally it indicates like a location. Iha has a sense of a seventh case. So iha you have to see when your understanding of any verse will be complete when you will be able to replace all the pronouns in a given verse with a proper nouns. That's all. When you will be able to do, your understanding of the verse is complete. Your understanding of the subject matter is complete. That's how it is. So here tasya. See the first line. Tasya. Tasya hetu. Means tasya means what? Of that. Means of that means what? Pratibandhasya. So pratibandhasya hetu. The cause of that pratibandha is a samana vihara, is simultaneous chanting of the boys. Chorus chanting of the boys. But putradhvani shrutau. Putradhvani shruti vishay means in recognizing the voice of the son distinctly, clearly, well, he is not able to listen, recognize it completely because there is a pratibandha. And the cause of pratibandha is the simultaneous chanting of the voice. So, iha anadi, iha means what? Here. Same way, iha means here. Here means atmani vishaya. Well, that is under discussion. That's called prakrutam. Prakrutam means what is under discussion. So here the under discussion is the Atma or Atmananda. We want to prove that there is an obstacle to this Atma or Atmananda, to the Swarupa of Atma, let's say. And well, so here is equal to, you have to replace with Atmananda Vishaye or Atma Vishaye, Atma Swarupa Vishaye, etc. etc. Anadi Avidya Eva, this Anadi Avidya Eva, that's a very beautiful thing. Anadi Avidya. So basically, because the people are going to ask, whenever the ignorance comes, they will ask this. But Swamiji, when did the ignorance begin? So Atma is Ananda, and then ignorance came one day and just, attached to the Atma, and therefore all the problem arises. Whole samsara, you said Ajnanam is the cause of the samsara. But when did it happen? What was that unfortunate day when this avidya has joined the Atma, and thereby the Swarupa of Atma is covered? What was the day? Anadi, he says clearly. Anadi. Means don't ask. Anadi means no, you should not ask. That's the thing. To escape, this is the best answer. For anything, we have one answer, and that is Anadi. Anadi Anirvachaniya. If somebody presses further, we say Anirvachaniya, Mithya. People say, this Vishishtadvaitin say, these Vedantis are really escapism. They have attitude of escapism. Because whenever we ask, they say this is Anirvachaniya. Therefore, they want to, don't answer basically any question. And therefore, they have written Shatadushani. They have written one book called Shatadushani. In Vedanta Darshanam, there are 100 doshas. 100 defects are there, and therefore never attend a class of any Vedantic teacher. Shatadushani. Shatam means 100. And Dushana. Dushana means that the defects. So they have found out some 100 defects in our Vedantic teaching. And one of the Acharya, very brilliant Acharya, has given an answer to them. And it is called Shatabhushani. So what you consider as a defect is basically ornament for us. And one of the ornament is Anirvachaniyatva. Anirvachaniyatva. If anything which is not, if you can categorize, Anirvachaniya means you cannot categorize. And therefore entire creation is in the cadre of this. You cannot categorize it. What is it you cannot tell. And well, then definitely that's an ornament for us. It's a bhushan for us, basically. Anyway, what I am saying is, so that is how we prove it is mithya. For proving mithya, we say the nature of object, nature of a name and form, etc. is anirvachaniya. You cannot say, you cannot categorize it. Name and form is existent or non-existent. You cannot tell. Well, just let's prove that whether pot is existent or non-existent. If pot is existent, I say you take away the pot and give me the clay. No, there is no pot. If there is no pot, then why are you going to buy that from the pot maker? Why you need only clay, then take clay is there right in front of your house. Are you able to fill up the water? No. Then I need a pot. Okay, then pot is there? Yeah, pot is there, definitely. Okay, pot is there. Take your pot and give me the clay. This is how it is. This is how whole creation is like this. You cannot categorize as a existent. You cannot categorize as a sat. You cannot categorize as a asat. Therefore, sat, asat, vilakshanam, mithya, anirvachaniyam, etc. etc. Anyway, so this is how it's a bhushanam for us. And they are upset with it. Vishishtadvaitins are very, very upset with us. Anyway, so basically, here it has been told anadi avidya vyamohaika nibandhanam. So avidya, which is the ignorance, is the obstacle here with respect to, with regards to Atmananda. And nibandhanam. Nibandhanam means karanam. So avidya is a nibandhanam, avidya is a karanam. Vyamohaika nibandhanam. So avidya is a karanam for all misconceptions and delusion. So avidya has only one job to do: damage the person. That's all. Damaging the person. It constantly damages. From the birth it comes. That's a capital. And it remains till death. And it will join again in the next life. It will join again in the next life. And it has one job, one purpose to serve during the life: damage the person. That's all. Therefore, samsara means what? Damaging the person. Samsara is a damaging the person, basically. So, vyamoha, delusion or a misconception. Eka eva karanam. Avidya alone is the cause. And therefore, and you can understand very well, you can see avidya, because of avidya one takes oneself to be karta, right? And he does lot of action, and then karmas galore. So many karmas then, and then you will have a sanchita, and then punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, everything. Abba. Swamiji, why am I born? Somebody asked me like that. He was so frustrated. So he says, why am I born? So I said, we should ask to Ishvara. I cannot say anything. Because if I can't tell ignorance is a cause. He may feel bad about it. Swami is calling me ignorant. And therefore, I can't tell that. But anyway, what I am saying is, indirectly Vidyaranya is proving Jnana Deva tu Kaivalya. Because if ignorance is a cause of the obstacle to Atmananda, and thereby all these problems, samsara, etc., then what is the solution? Jnanam is the solution. So he is indicating, by clearly narrating avidya as a pratibandha, obstacle, he is clearly narrating there is only solution. Because he says avidya, what is said? Avidya eva eka vyamoha karanam. Vyamoha eka nibandhanam. Therefore, avidya is the only cause for the samsara or damage. Therefore, the solution also should be only one, and that is jnana. Jnanam alone is opposite to ignorance, and that definitely it works that way. And here one grammatical point also I would like to tell you, which is very, very important. See, anadi avidya vyamohaika nibandhanam. If you see, all this basically are in a same vibhakti, same case. Anadi, avidya, vyamohaika nibandhanam, all are in a prathama vibhakti ekvachanam. Now, there is a samanadikaranyam. Samanadikaranyam means what? Binna pravritti nimittanam padana, binna pravritti nimittanam ekasmin arthe tatpa, binna pravritti nimittanam samana vibhaktikanam padanam ekasmin adhikarane tatparyam samanadikaranyam. That is how the definition is. So words have a different pravritti. Pravritti means revealing the object. Words are meant for what? What is the pravritti of word? What is the activity of the word? To reveal object, right? To reveal the meaning. And therefore, bhinna pravritti nimittanam. So all have a bhinna pravritti, different words reveal different meanings, different objects. Meaning means object. And samana vibhaktikana. Even though the words have a different meaning, but if they are put in a single, samana vibhakti means eka vibhakti. If they are put in a, same case, and padanam, but if they all indicate a one thing, then there is a samanadikaranyam between all the words. You should understand that. And therefore, here, Vyamohaika Nibandhanam is a neuter word. Nibandhanam Karanam. So basically, Nibandhanam means Karanam. So Karanam has a one meaning, right? And then Avidya, it has its own meaning. Anadi, it has its own meaning. Avidya means ignorance. Anadi means beginningless. Nibandhanam means cause. All the three have a different meaning. Vinna pravrutti, right? Vinna pravrutti nimittanam, samana vibhaktikanam, but they are all in a first case, you see. They are all in a first case. Padanam ekasmin adhikarane, in a one vastuni, ekasmin vastuni. Even though they have their own meaning, but if they are put in a same case, and well, if they have a tatparyam, if they all are indicating a single object, then there is a samanadhikaranyam between all the words. Samanadhikaranyam cannot be between the objects. Samanadhikaranyam is between the words. And therefore, and we should remember one thing, that there should not be a criteria that they should be having the same gender. No. See, the words have three things. Either it has a lingam, gender, right? Words have a gender. Then words have a case, that is vibhakti. And words have a vachanam, ekvachanam, dvivachanam, etc. So any word will have will have the three things: lingam, vachanam, vibhakti. For samanadhikaranyam, they should not be in a same lingam. Same gender is not required. Vyamohika nibandhanam is a neuter case. Avidya, that akaranta indicates it is a strilinga word, and therefore it is in the strilinga. It's a feminine word. So lingam is different. One is neuter. One is feminine word. And second, vachanam. Vachanam also need not be the same. Here, of course, both are in single. Avidya means it's a singular. And nibandhanam also is a singular. That's okay. But in other cases, it is not. Like I will give you an example. Apaha karanam bhavati, etc. Apaha. Apaha means jalam, water. And water is a cause. Cause for crops, etc. For whatever purpose you can take. Water is a cause for life, let's say. Apaha jivanasya karanam bhavati. If I write like this, right? So apaha karanam, they are basically samanadhikaranyam. It is indicating one object alone. Because apaha is basically a strilinga word. And it's a neuter, it is a feminine word, and it is always used in a plural. So apaha will always be by default remain apaha, means it will be always a plural word. And karanam, well, it is singular, and that is neuter word, right? Phalam, it is like phalam, phalam phale phalani, karanam karane karanani. So it is neuter word. But why I call samanadhikaranyam? Because karanam is in the prathama vibhakti, and apaha also in prathama vibhakti. If the vibhaktis are same, well, samana vibhakti karanam, there is a definition is this. So basically, if they are both in the same case, you can call between the two words there is a relationship of samanadhikaranyam. It is very, very important for a mahavakya, etc. Well, we'll come where we will discuss that. But I am telling you, this is to be learnt. This much has to be learnt. So lingam can be different. Apaha is a feminine noun, karanam is a neuter noun, no problem. Still there can be samanadhikaranyam. Apaha is a plural, karanam is a singular, no problem. But if you see that both are in the first case, well, there will be, both are indicating one object alone. Both reveal one object alone. Ekasmin adhikarane tatparyam. Samana vibhakti, samana adhikaranyam means samana adhikaranam. Samana adhikaranam means a vastu. Samanam means ekam. So it indicates only one. It reveals only one vastu. Even though there are many words, and every word has its own meaning. But here, right now, in this sentence, all these words indicate or reveal one vastu. Then all these words have a samanadhikaranyam relationship. Anyway, this is for up to verse 14 we have seen. Now let's go to verse 15. Chidanandamaya Brahma Pratibimba Samanvita Tamo rajas sattva guna prakrutir dvivida chasa. So we have proved in verse 11 to 14 that this avidya is a samsara karanam. Now verse 15 to 32 there is a third topic. So how the creation has come about, how the samsara is, the creation of the world has taken place. Now avidya has been introduced. So now he uses that avidya etc. and he wants to expand further and shows it as a cause for the creation also. So Chidanandamaya Brahma Pratibimba Samanvita. So now talking about avidya and samsara both, he explains elaborately now. And before I go into the verse, I will give you a bird's eye view. Give you a total idea what is going to be discussed now. Now he is introducing Brahman. You can see very well Chidananda Maya Brahma, because he has already told. We have proved Atma is Chidananda within no few verses. You can imagine, without taking support of Upanishad, by logically he proved that Jivatma is Sachidananda. We have seen that from verse number 2 to verse number 9. And in verse 10 he said, well, Tathavidam Param Brahma. If Jiva also is Sachidananda, then Shruttanteshu, Vedanteshu, Brahman also is called Tathavidam. Means it is also of the same nature, means Brahman also is Sachidananda. If Jiva also is Sachidananda, Brahman also is Sachidananda, then Jiva is Brahman. That is how he has told in verse number 10. He told a Mahavakya. So basically, here already he has told this that Jiva is a Sachidananda, which is Brahman. So he introduces Brahman, which is limitless consciousness, and which has been proved as a Jivatma Swarupam, as a Sachidananda, etc. also. Now he takes here, he says before creation this Chaitanyam or this Brahman or Sachidananda was existing, and now it's a we have to imagine a pre-Srishti condition. The creation, before the creation took place, we have to imagine that situation now. So, well, Chaitanya was there, Sadeva Somya, everywhere it has been discussed. It has been told in all the Upanishads. In Chandogya it has been told as Sadeva Somya Damagra Asit Ekameva Dvitiyam. This entire creation, Idam is this. This creation was, before it got created, it was Sad alone, like that it has been told. In Aitareya it has been told Atma va idameva ekagre asit, etc. Various Upanishads, Brahma va idameva ekagre asit, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad said. So you say Atma, you say Brahman, or you say Sat, all this is one thing. And so let's imagine a pre-creation condition, before creation. What was the thing? So before that, not only Brahman, there was some other thing also was there. Why? Who has told you to, to tell this? Well, Prakriti is there. Prakriti is, because Brahman is not able to create anything. It doesn't have anything to create. It doesn't have a knowledge. It doesn't have any desire. It doesn't have any power to create. Nothing is there. No Ichha Shakti, no Jnana Shakti, no Kriya Shakti. Then how can creation take place? So we have to imagine Shakti. What can we do? If you say there is a creation, we will have to say, if you don't say creation, you say everything is Brahman. Well, we will keep quiet. But if you say no, all the time, every moment there is a creation and dissolution and sustenance. Okay. Then before creation, what was there? That is a cause. Cause has to be there before creation. The cause you said the Brahman. But Brahman cannot do. Okay, then imagine something, some Shakti. We call Prakriti here. So Prakriti is imagined. I am not going to discuss like Tattva Buddha. Don't expect me like Maya, I have discussed this. I am not going to discuss it. It takes hours and hours. So now you know, in brief I am going to discuss with the verses. And so two principles are there. Even Bhagavan told in chapter 13, Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidhi Anadi Ubhau Api. Both were there before creation. Prakritim Purusham. Both are Anadi. Naturally, Purusha also is Anadi, Prakriti also is Anadi. So then, wait a minute. We have an incidental doubt now. What? You all the time saying that there is only one thing, you are Advaitavadi. Now you say there are two things before creation, Prakriti and Purusha both. So we say, the Prakriti is a mithya thing. It is not really there. But because you are telling this creation is there, for us everything is Brahman. But for you the creation is there. Therefore we are imagining our same reality. The creation is mithya, and therefore we imagine a entity which is mithya, and that is Prakriti. And then Prakriti is mithya and your Purusha is Satyam. Yeah. Then still there are two things. We cannot tell like this. What is mithya cannot be counted. What cannot be counted is mithya. If myself is there and my reflection is there, how many cups you will bring of a tea? So definitely you cannot count. What is mithya cannot be counted. It is just an apparent thing. And therefore Prakriti is mithya. Because the creation needs a Prakriti. Creation is mithya for us because we call it as a Brahman, you call it as a creation. And therefore definitely we are not seeing creation. We are seeing Brahman. And therefore for us what the names and forms are mithya. And so creation is mithya. And therefore we imagine a Prakriti which is equally mithya. And therefore Purusha plus Prakriti is equal to Ishvara, which is the cause of the creation. Anyway, and this Prakriti is divided into three. Tamo Rajas Sattva Guna Prakriti. Tamo Rajas Sattva Guna Prakriti. So Sattva Pradhana Prakriti, we call it as SP, and Tamah Pradhana Prakriti, which is called TP, and Rajas Pradhana Prakriti, we call it RP. So now having introduced these three factors, here Tamah Pradhana Prakriti, all these are guna they have called. So translation of guna is not an attribute. The Prakriti has three attributes, people say. Prakriti or Maya has these three attributes. Well, no, not three attributes. Guna means generally attribute, but no. Here it is not attribute. Attribute means, if you say attribute, that's a bigger problem. If you say some guna as an attribute, then there will be a guni. Then there will be guni, which is an ashraya for the guna. If you say red rose, means redness of that rose is a guna attribute. Then the redness, the guna resides in what? Guni, it's the flower. Red color cannot exist independently in the space. Some substance must be there. Substance will have a property. Any property does not exist independently. Property will always reside in a substance. We call it guni or dravya. Nayayika called it as a dravya. So dravya, guna, etc., etc. So guna means an attribute. So here Swamiji, Maya is Trigunatmika, Prakriti is Trigunatmika. Maya or Prakriti has three gunas. So Prakriti is basically ashraya. And these three gunas are residing in that. No. It is Raja, this Sattva, Rajas and Tamo guna. They alone, all these three constitute Maya. That's all. And therefore guna is translated as factor. Guna is translated as faculty. Guna is also translated as a function. Either way, guna is translated as an ingredient. Whatever you want to say, that's up to you. All the three ingredients together is a Prakriti. All the three factors together is a Prakriti. The summation of all the three faculties is a Prakriti. That's all it means. So no attributes. Guna means attribute generally, but we should not say here. Anyway, so having introduced these three factors, Brahman associated with this Sattva Pradhana Prakriti and Tamah Pradhana Prakriti becomes Ishvara. And of the creation. Ishvara means the creator of the creation. And Brahman is not really Karanam. We know all, we have seen that. Brahman is not actually the cause. But since you say there is a creation, we impose upon Brahman we give a status to the Brahman as a cause through the Maya or through the Prakriti. So basically Brahman associated with this Sattva Pradhana Prakriti and Tamah Pradhana Prakriti is called Ishvara. These two goes together. And of course then Ishvara becomes a different kind of a cause through different kind of a Prakriti, which I will tell you. Brahman associated with Sattva Pradhana Prakriti becomes a Nimitta Karanam. Brahman associated with Tamah Pradhana Prakriti becomes a Upadana Karanam, and thereby Ishvara is a Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. This is how it has been told. Anyway, so Abhinna Pitta Upadana Karanam Ishvara, that Ishvara becomes, Brahman becomes Ishvara, or a cause of a creation, or a creator through association. What kind of a Swamiji association they have? What is the association of myself and my Pratibimba, reflection? What is the association? So, what is the association? What is the association between a pot and clay? What is the Sambandha? In Vedanta, when you come, you have to drop all the Sambandha. That is what the problem is. Because all the time we will ring the bell and tell you are Asanga, you are Asanga, and you are Asanga. But still, if you have a need of some Sambandha, then we will give one. Satyamithya Sambandha. We don't have any relationship with anybody. Neither I have any relationship with the body. Neither I have any relationship with my senses. Neither I have any relationship with my mind. Neither I have any relationship with the world. Neither I have any relationship with any person. Neither I have any relationship with any object. Please understand that. Please understand that other than you, just limitless consciousness, nothing exists because you are limitless. And still there are things which are appearing and you are associated with it. Well, then it is a Satya Mithya Sambandha. There is only one Sambandha, and Satya Mithya Sambandha is a figurative. It is not a relationship. There is no relationship between a clay and a pot, or no relationship between a gold and a ornament. Well, there is no relationship. Relationship is Dvinishtaha. Dvinishtaha. Relationship requires minimum two things. And therefore, well, there are no two things. Between two Satyam, there will be a relationship. Between two Mithya also there is a relationship. Yeah. Between two Mithya things also there is a relationship. And therefore, body has some kind of a transactional relation with the world. Yeah, it is. It is. And, but I don't have any relationship. I am free from all relationship. Anyway, so Ishvara alone creates this universe with this, with this associating with the two Prakritis. So Sattva Pradhana Prakriti associate with SP and associate with TP. What about RP? Raja Pradhana Prakriti. Well, Brahman associated with Raja Pradhana Prakriti becomes Jiva. Why? Why you are so fond of getting associated with Raja Pradhana Prakriti? There is a cause for it. See, Rajas means what? It is neither Sattvam nor Tamas. Right? Rajas is in between. It is neither Sattvam nor Tamas. And if there is a total Sattvam, there is a total bliss. Ishvara is associated with Sattva Pradhana Prakriti. That is total Sattvam. So he is having all the time bliss. So he is having Ananda, And total ignorance. Ishvara associated with ignorance, well, also there is no problem. Ignorance also is a bliss. Total ignorance is a bliss. That's your experience, sir, in a Sushupti. So, total Sattva, no problem. Total, ignorance, no problem. So, Sattva and Tamas, well, if whoever gets associated with, well, will not have any problem. Whether you have problem or not. Oh, I have several problems. That is why you are in between. You are in between. Raja means intermediary between Sattva and Tamas. And that is indicated by this partial knowledge. If I am really having a Vishuddha Sattva, I would be Sarvagnya. Where is the question of partial knowledge? Bhane api abhanam. Bhane api abhanam. This is the situation of us. So I am sufficiently self-conscious to know that I am, and sufficiently ignorant to say I am not Brahman. And therefore, basically, this is the situation. Ideal ground for misconception. Raja Pradhana Prakriti is an ideal ground for Brahman to create misconception about itself. And that create that misconception or a delusion is Brahman says, I am Jivaha, I am Samsari. And this Rajapradana Prakriti has many shades, and therefore Brahman associated with this Rajapradana Prakriti, which is called Avidya, and it has many shades, and therefore there are many Jivas. Brahman associated with every Avidya. Avidya is going to be called as a Karana Shariram. And every Karana Shariram will be different, you know very well. First thing, the difference between two Avidyas or two Karana Shariram is Sanchita. Sanchita. Difference between two Karana Shariram is Vasanas. Several Vasanas are there. Several Karmas are there. And each one's Karma and each one's Vasana is different. So Avidya basically or a Karana Shariram are many. Because but why are you calling them Avidya? We call it Avidya, but basically Avidya means a Karana Shariram which veils the nature of Brahman and therefore we call it Avidya. But because it has many shades. Like one blue color has thousands and thousands of shades. Right? One blue color. Somebody had shown me on a computer. Blue color, 1000 on something odd number, I forgot. So many shades. I wonderstruck. I thought, what is this? Anyway, so Avidya also is like one blue color but having many shades. And therefore many jivas. Brahman associated with Avidya or a Rajapradana Prakriti, and it becomes as though Brahman appears. Brahman is having a misconception as a jiva, as a samsari. So Brahman associated with Sattva-pradhana Prakriti is called Maya. Brahman associated with Rajapradhana Prakriti is called Avidya. And Tamah-pradhana Prakriti, Vidyaranya does not give any name. So in Sattva-pradhana Prakriti, Chidabhasa is formed. In Rajapradhana Prakriti, Chidabhasa is formed. And Tamah-pradhana Prakriti, Chidabhasa is not there. But Swamiji, some abhasa should be there. Okay, Sadabhasa is there. So let's say Sadabhasa. What is that Sadabhasa? So basically, any name and form, you always associate existence with name and form. That existence is a borrowed existence. That borrowed existence on the part of a name and form is called Sadabhasa. But borrowal is called abhasa, reflection. Yeah, any reflection is a borrowal thing. And therefore basically, so definitely this is how we say Sadabhasa. Because Tamah-pradhana Prakriti cannot reflect consciousness and therefore basically only reflects existence. And therefore, Ishvara, Brahman associated with Sattva-pradhana Prakriti, becomes Jnani. You can imagine. That is how they are telling you, you increase your Sattva. Yeah, for what? To gain Jnanam. Karma Yoga is meant for what? Karma Yoga is meant to reduce Ragadvesha. Ragadvesha means what? You have to reduce your Tamoguna and Rajoguna, basically. And therefore Raga indicates Rajoguna, Dvesha indicates Tamoguna. And therefore to reduce it and increase Sattva. That's how you bring Ishvara into life and all these things. So why I require to increase Sattva? Because if you want knowledge, then you will have to have more Sattva, more knowledge, more clarity. Therefore, if Ishvara associate with Sattva Pradhana Prakriti, Vishuddha Sattva, there is no Rajoguna and Tamoguna, then definitely he is Sarvajna. He is a Sarvajna. So Ishvara is a Sarvajna, lucky to have a Maya. Jiva is a Ajnani, lucky to have a Avidya. And therefore, Ishvara is a Swami and Jiva is a Dasa. But one Brahman becomes Swami and Dasa, associating with different Upadhis. Prakriti, which is threefold. Out of that, Tamah-pradhan Prakriti, keep it aside right now. That is useful. We will keep it that whole thing for something else. But right now, two things. Rajapradhan Prakriti, Sattva-pradhan Prakriti. One Brahman, associated. Associated means understand now. I have not to tell you again and again. It's an association of Satya Mithya. And therefore, basically, Ishvara becomes a Swami. and Jiva becomes Ajnani. But through Maya he becomes Swami? Yeah. That is told even by Ishvara, we'll see that in chapter 4. So just see the shloka, I mean its time is over, but just see the shloka. Prakriti hi asti. So this basic, that matter principle, well, it is achetanam, it is mithya, it is savikaram, etc., etc. Well, that was there even before the creation, along with that Brahman. And what kind of that Prakriti? It has 3 gunas, it has 3 faculties. And what is that? What are those 3 gunas? Tamo rajas sattva guna Prakriti. And that is tamo rajas sattva guna. Teaching, tamo guna means inertia function. And rajo guna means activity function. And sattva guna means knowledge function. You can see that. See, you just take your daily activity. You right now, suppose, I'm assuming one thing right now, that you are trying to understand Pancadasi right now. So you are using your knowledge faculty, right? Because you are getting knowledge through certain faculties. So you are using your knowledge faculty. Suppose you are writing down notes at this point, at this moment. So definitely it is activity, right? And that is Rajoguna Prakriti. So, I mean, you are doing something also simultaneously, knowing and doing. Knowing and doing, knowing and doing. Whole day it is like this. Either doing, either knowing. And simultaneously it goes on and on and on and on. And lastly, what will happen? No knowing and no doing. And only sleeping. And therefore inertia. That is Tamopradhana. So only function is both are. When both are, see, this Tamoguna, function is described like this. Where there is no knowledge function and where there is no activity function, that function is called Tamoguna, basically. That faculty is called Tamoguna. There is no other definition. When these two both are lacking, that is called Tamoguna Prakriti. Anyway, so this is how here it has been told. So Prakriti is capable, this kind of Prakriti which is Tamo Rajas Sattva Guna, and that is Dvivida, that is twofold, Maya and Avidya. He is going to tell it later. Chidanandamaya Brahma Pratibimba Samanvita. Before creation, definitely, this Brahman, which gets reflected into this Prakriti. Prakriti is a medium. And Brahman is what kind of a Brahman? Chidanandamayam. Sachidanandamayam Brahma. Mayat here means in sense of Sarupa. There are 2 meanings of that Mayat. Either it is used in the sense of predominance. Either it is used in the sense of nature. Here you have to take not like if I tell you, I am Gramaha Brahmanamayaha. This village is Brahmanamayaha. This village has a predominance of Brahmins. Could you follow? So here Mayat means a Prachuriam. Prachuriam means predominance. I mean, there are other families, but this village has a predominant population of Brahmin. But Mayat is also used in the sense of Swarupa. Chinmayaha, you know very well this word. Chinmayaha. Atma Chinmayaha, etc. So Atma is basically a consciousness, that is its Swarupa. Chinmayaha means Swarupa. Here, Mayat Swarupa. So Chidanandamayaha. So the Atma which is Brahman is Chidanandamayaha. We have already seen that. And Pratibimba Samanvita, that Brahman which is reflected in the Prakriti. So the Prakriti which is endowed with Samanvita, Prakriti which is endowed with the reflection of a Brahman, Prakriti serves as a medium. That Prakriti which is Tamo Rajas Sattva Guna, which has 3 faculties, is Dvividha. And already I have narrated, one is Maya, other is Avidya. Right? And we'll see now tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.